everybody. Welcome back to Words with Wayman. I am your host, as always, Matt Wayman. We got a very, very special episode, everybody. As always, check us out online at Words with Wayman on Twitter. And I want to welcome very special guest, Improv genius, founder of Grafenberg Productions, pretty much the only guy in Denver I know that makes his money off improv comedy. Please give it up for Mr. Justin Franzen.
Hi, guys. Hi.
Throw them out your Twitter handle, all that stuff, the Facebooks, the websites.
Funny
to let them know.
Grafenberg is
Cool.
our Twitter handle. Grafenberg.productions.com.
Nice, that's a good one.
Grafenberg. Everyone,
check it out.
Spelling's all fucked.
Don't spell it wrong.
Yeah. And then just Facebook, all that shit.
Nice.
We help run the Atlas Theater page. So
Yeah,
a bunch of stuff
super
there.
fun little theater. Off Colfax. I wanted to have you on because, as you know, this podcast is about solely creative people, and you're one of the few guys in town that does do improv as a full-time job. So how did you, I guess I always start from the beginning, how did you get into the creative aspects of life? Like, was it early in grade school?
Early. Oh, yeah.
Well, through art or music?
I think I was just always the class asshole. I remember...
The smart ass?
Yeah, oh yeah. I remember in second grade, there's this book, Anansi Spider. Do you remember Anansi Spider?
No.
And everyone would walk by this mossy rock, and they would fall. And it was the first place I learned how to pratfall, pretty much.
Oh, nice.
Class is I was the lion that fell, and they loved when I'd fall, and I started making my whole class laugh.
Yeah.
And then they asked, then we had the whole dress up, what do you want to be when you grow up bullshit. And I showed up in my dad's business shirt and tie and was a stand-up in second grade.
That's hilarious.
My teacher about shit laughing.
Starting early,
Oh, yeah.
getting in the stand-up game. Man, I wish I would have started that young. I would be funny by now. That would have been.
I don't think I've gotten there yet.
You were done with it. Yeah, I think it is one of those things, like once you get that first bit of laughter, it's almost contagious after that.
Oh,
You're like,
totally.
This is a thing now.
Growing up, my parents loved stand-up, loved Saturday
Nice.
Night Live, so it was always, that's what made them laugh. And my parents are they love to laugh. They're very comedic people in the sense. So it was always a very big part of me growing up.
Yeah.
Fucking with each other. It was making, as my dad, we'd see a sign that said dip in road, and he'd be like, hey, Justin, go stand in the road.
Yeah, that's fun.
Just dumb shit like that.
I've never heard that one, but that's actually...
It's bad.
What did you find improv? Did you find it in high school or college?
Yeah,
or?
I found it in high school. I was doing a lot of speech and debate, forensics, the acting side, and was fairly successful at it, actually. And my dad had seen that, and I'd watched, just like every other bullshit in high school, watched Whose Line Is It?
Oh, of course. Short form.
Didn't know shit about the big boys.
Oh, yeah.
It started off when my dad got me a book for Second City, for Christmas.
Nice.
And I had no clue, and that's when I started researching that. And then he threw a newspaper on my bed one day when I came down from school, and there's a big section, a 2-pager article about improv.
Cool.
And at the end of it, there were auditions.
Nice.
And it was for a legitimate improv group, not
Whoa.
like some, Chuckle Bucket in high
Yeah,
school
yeah.
that my parents came to. And I went and auditioned with my duo partner at the time in
Nice.
speech and debate. We both got in.
That's fantastic.
And at 15, I'm in the back of a bar at Fiore's Bar and Grill doing short form.
Oh, God.
Oh, fuck, man.
Did you find that you liked short form? I mean, especially being it as you started on, I'm sure there's always going to be some love there. But it's a completely different beast than long form. Short form is, for people out there that don't know, more game-based. Whose line is it anyway?
Totally.
And long form is more where you can take a suggestion. Usually you take one, and then you just do everything right based off of that. Which is what I've always loved, the longer form.
Before I knew about it, I didn't know. It was like that was one thing in the Second City book. It was just that shitty coffee table book that just talks about all their sketches and stuff. Do you know what I'm talking about? So I wasn't really getting a hold of what the experience was, but I did short form, and then I went to Bovine, did classes.
Yeah, theater in Denver.
And I actually was I started writing in their sketch shows when I was 17.
Cool.
So that was cool. So
which is, I think, like what improv, really, really good improvers are usually really, really good sketch writers. It's just kind of one of those things. If you're a good improv player, you know how to think through dialogue a lot, but you also know how to think through sketch.
And you naturally find game.
Yeah, and that's all sketches are, just a bunch of games interwoven together.
Yeah.
Which, that's cool to be able to start that young, too.
Well, and that's why when I was younger, I was a short form monster.
Yeah.
Energy, full of
faster,
bullshit.
I'm sure, than a lot of people, too.
all I was energy and bad characters.
Yeah, some angst in there.
I had no life experience. I had nothing to fuck relate to.
Yeah. Which a lot of people relate to, too, because you're not, like, coming from a pretentious place where a lot of people come from characters, or a I'm upset with this type of person place, which sometimes doesn't play as well on stage. You're just like, that person's mad. There's nothing funny about it. They're just mad at this person they saw today, and then they were that person. And no, there isn't. Sometimes there is, if it's absurd enough when they're getting upset with each other. But yeah, a lot of times when people are just pissed, it's like, no thanks.
Well, and I think, because it's funny, it's teaching improv, I think that's the moment that a lot of people find their funniest. I've learned it's their most hindsight moment, in the sense is the most people in the world, once they're mad at someone, that's when they walk back and they're like, oh, fuck, I could have said that to that dude.
Made it funny.
Yeah. And that becomes the moment where they attribute wit to, which is I have no connection to wit.
Yeah.
Belittling people. I don't.
Oh, of course.
I mean, I think there's a sense in like stand up and what you do. I think so, but hecklers, I just don't shut the fuck up and get out.
Oh yeah.
Work.
I'm just trying not to make the crowd turn on me, so I'm just trying to make it something funny where they don't come back harsh on me. But so you got into that, doing that short form writing sketch, and then eventually found your way into teaching, which is what you do now. How did that teaching? Because that's a big step. I mean, I found a lot of people that I really enjoy watching play are fantastic teachers as well.
Yeah, that's. I hope sometime. And I've seen people that are rough to watch and amazing teachers.
Yeah,
great directors.
Of course.
It's just weird. But I'd come back from Chicago because instead of college, like I said, I was all full of hot air and ego.
Yeah.
So I go out to Chicago at the first time for 19. And I'm cool as shit. You know what I mean? I'm 19. I'm
hot kid in town.
SNL doesn't even know how hard I'm coming.
They're going to be upset with that. They didn't hear about me earlier.
And that city ate my lunch the first year. The first year, I was like, this is not how
what is happening? Yeah.
I was like, gosh. And that's when I really started to dig into long form and was like, this short form stuff's it's warm-ups.
Oh, absolutely. And what, they just didn't give a shit about it up in Chicago?
They do. Like, Comedy Sports is great.
Yeah.
But everyone, Chicago's kind of the foundation of long form with Del Close coming from there. Yeah. He spawned off from Second City.
TJ and Dave.
Spawned off. Well, yeah, Mick Napier then spawned off TJ and Dave.
That Mick Napier book, by the way, one of my favorite improv books.
Yeah, it's a really good
taught
book.
Me so much.
He just did a new one that I think he updated it. And another one that's great, especially for people probably listening on the podcast for wanting to know the inside of the business. Yeah. Jimmy Crane is going to publish a book, The Inner Game of Improv. And it sounds like it's easy to be bullshitty.
Yeah.
But it's all about the insides of the business. It's like, you will get cut.
Yeah, definitely.
You will get pissed off at this guy that does this.
Oh, yeah.
You will have a ton of resentment towards someone's success that's been doing it half as long as you.
That's hilarious. But also important for people to know.
Totally. It's huge for people to know.
I'm sure a bunch of people would have not quit improv if they would have read that book earlier and been like, oh, somebody else is going through this as well. Because I remember on my first team, we weren't all talking about it. And then one night we were all sitting down drinking. We're like, yeah, well, I'm upset about this. And everybody's like, me too. And it's like, oh, God, this is so great.
Yeah, we're generally all on the same page.
Yeah, everybody on the exact same page. Everybody thinking about the exact same thing.
Oh, yeah. So it was so great in Chicago to be as young as I was and experience that.
To get broken down, yeah.
Oh, fuck. And they didn't like me because I was young.
Oh, of course.
They didn't give a shit.
Like this little punk.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And I mean, I still could hang with them. I made a Herald team and stuff.
Nice.
And didn't do poorly, but I was a cocky little shit 21-year-old. And I got treated like one.
Oh,
they put me in my place.
Yeah, which is you have to because, coming in thinking you are the hottest little ticket in town, and people are like, we've been doing this for so long.
And I was doing it in Denver, and I was, I was writing sketch shows early and stuff, and my resume was good, but they don't give a fuck about my resume.
No, nobody gives a shit about resume.
They care about what I do on stage.
That's it.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Plus, those teams, I'm sure, were a lot bigger once you got up there, too, right?
Oh, hell yeah. Well, the whole
20, 30-person team.
I'm coming from, that's when it was just Bovine, and that was maybe a 40-person training center, maybe 60 people. It wasn't huge, yeah. And then all of a sudden I go to I.O. that's got the size of a small high school. Annoyance is the size of another fucking small high school. And then you got Second City there as well. It's like it was just
everything's there.
So much bigger.
What year was that when you moved up there?
04.
Okay.
05.
So you played probably on some of those teams where there was like 20, 30 people on the sidelines and you're just trying to pick something out.
Well, yeah. I think my first Herald team, Go-Go Manifesto, was 13 people deep. And they give us an 18-minute slot on
Jesus.
date 11, and they're like, do something with this.
Do something fun.
What? I'm running against TJ and Dave.
Yeah.
You want me to have a successful show?
Go get him, young buck.
Yeah, go get him, Tiger.
This is where you thinking your hot shit really comes out.
Oh, man. But it was once I was on a team and stuff, I was very humbled in the sense of I took direction very well. I very much wanted to learn. Mm-hmm. So I was totally fine with being like, they pretty much had to break me down and recreate me as an improviser.
Which I feel like every improviser should every couple of years,
Totally.
Learn something about how the way you play that you didn't know at all.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Well, and that's just through keep pushing.
Yeah.
Keep challenging. You'll notice yourself go through waves because it's such a weird, organic, hippy-dippy art form.
Yeah, and it's a sport, too, in the sense where it's like if you don't do it for a couple of days, you lose a little bit.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You definitely got to keep the hard wiring there.
Which is the best part, I feel like it, too. Because then when you're really just knocking it out of the park, you can tell, you go on ride those little waves.
Oh, they're the best feelings.
So what, you were up there in 2004, and then what happened after that?
Lived there with my brother, who he's still out there.
Nice.
Did just kind of the normal route, and then I got real fucking tired of Chicago winters.
Oh man, I was thinking about moving to Chicago. We moved to New Orleans just because of the winters.
Oh, yeah, it was like, no, man.
I got angry. Like I was up there one winter, and I was just like, it probably looked like a crazy man, just yelling at the air. I was like, this is ridiculous.
It's normal. No, you're normal. We've all done it. You get so cold, you just want to cry. You just come in February, you're like, I'm just so tired of this. I just want to cry. I'm just done. Like, you just missed the bus. It's negative 25. And it wasn't one bus. You missed all three of the fuckers in a row. And you know it's not going to be another 35 minutes for a bus. And you're, you
win, like, City. You win, Windy City.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm going back.
Yeah.
And I've seen guys, that there's one guy who's on SNL now, Michael Bryan.
Nice.
He'd been hacking it out there for 14 fucking years. He'd been in the Lorne Michaels show, which is IO always has a showcase every year where Lorne Michaels comes, and that's where they put up their,
the heavy hitters.
Yeah. And Mike, it's Pat O'Brien, but for SAG reasons, he went with his middle name.
As
Mike.
we do.
Yeah, whatever.
That's why my name's Douglas.
And seeing how long it took him to get picked up, I always had the conversation of how long do I want to do this? Do I want to do this for 15 minutes, or do I want to do this forever?
Yeah.
I always had the perspective of wanting to do it forever.
Of course.
So while I was out there, I didn't only just take improv workshops in the sense of improvising and doing it, but I'd take workshops on production. I'd get in there and produce shows. I'd learn the back end stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about.
The fun stuff,
you don't go to Chicago to get famous. You go to learn from the people that made those people famous and see how institutions survive and see how content can be controlled and see what systems they have in place that work. And, there's a really cool aspect of being out in Chicago that you don't get in L.A. And, in New York, it's too competitive.
Of course.
And everybody's too closed off and won't let you into that circle.
They think you're going to steal their secrets or something.
Yeah, because their secrets are so fucking great.
Yeah,
it's
really.
Like, we all know them.
It's like because there's so many comedy secrets left.
Oh, yeah, shit. Everyone
really horror that one.
1,000 times.
Yeah, you keep that Beanie Baby joke, really? You're not
God, the last sketch show, I was trying to work a Carrie Strug bit into the show.
More sketch shows need more Strug.
Dude, Carrie Strug and Bella Carosi or whatever, that fucking Olympics bit is still fucking funny.
I've seen that's one of those things where, especially, it's something you can always continue to learn too, the back end of the stuff and how to produce a show. Forms, I think, is a huge thing too. Pacing.
Well, forms is nuts, but forms is more the improviser. I think an improviser should know a bunch of forms, and a teacher should as well.
Yeah.
But I think eventually people should be wanting to create their own forms and stuff.
That's the best.
Never be seeing people repeat forms and stuff. You should be so excited to challenge. And that's the fun, but that's also where shows get good. Now all of a sudden quality goes up because we're interesting theater.
Because they're having more fun performing that theater. Yeah, which I think is the end goal, really.
Well, yeah, there's so many people that are in groups are not having fun in.
Did you feel like everybody in Chicago was at least having fun? Like that was the difference? No, you think it was still some of that? It's a big city too, you know?
Yeah, it's super competitive. But it's like one of my favorite teachers he had fun, but he was old and bitter. And he knew that's what he's doing.
It's like fun in like an old, defeated sort of way.
He's got his
Don't be me, but I'll give you my ideas.
The big funny part was he got fired from Dharma and Greg for being too dark. Which fit perfect.
That's a lot.
Bud.
That show was successful. You'd
get fired from
still been making residuals off that puppy. Yeah, to get fired from the one person that ever got fired.
Yeah, probably the only person writing good jokes.
Yeah, I'm sure they were like just a little edgier, but they were definitely coming from like a. Greg didn't want to be in that relationship anymore from the start.
Oh yeah, and I bet you Dharma was a sarcastic asshole. I bet the sarcasm was way up. That show would have been way better.
That would have been so much better. It would have been a lot more real. That's hilarious.
It was funny to see the older defeated in the sense of that's what they're doing forever. But then again, there was the other guy that still loved every second of it.
Because it was a choice. Yeah, it wasn't forced into it.
He was so glad to still be doing it instead of, this is just what I know.
Yeah, this is what I do because I can't do anything else.
Yeah, and I happen to be good at it.
Yeah, or people tell me I am.
Phase through for him as well, just
of
like
course,
everyone else.
Ups and downs.
Fucking life. But also the people that were giving up. I mean, I wasn't the only fucker that give up all my shit to move out there.
No, that's true.
That's what was really kind of humbling.
People coming in all the time.
Yeah, and you're just like, God, everyone's trying. That's how you realize the circuit's oversaturated, so it's so hard to get noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, it's being a 5'8" white brown-haired dude.
For sure.
I'm fucked.
You ain't got shit to
There's
sell.
1,000 of me, man.
Yeah.
I swear to God, if I'd have been an Indian woman Vietnam vet with one
You'd
leg,
be famous right now.
Fucking killed.
Which is the goal of all of them.
But in a sense, you have to look at it in that of like, I'm seeing guys with amazing talent. Like this gentleman, Michael Lair. He did one of my favorite bits I've ever seen someone do. Is he was doing a Second City show in Las Vegas, and you pretty much perform for 2 hours, then fuck off all day in your hotel room.
Nice.
And he had watched C-SPAN for the local Las Vegas Senate and went in on one of the days where they take questions from the public and had rehearsed this whole awesome speech.
That's great.
And he's like, as I've been on again, off again the streets, and I've dealt with addiction from heroin to sleep texting. And he goes into like how you need a place to like hook up your bike or at least a locker to put your rollerblades in, man. And it's this beautiful speech, but no one knows who the fuck he is.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he did that years ago just for fun. Went back to his hotel room, timed it out on the DVR, recorded it.
That's so funny. That's what this is all about. I think of fun.
Totally. And he ended up just moving to LA, and he's doing that route now.
Nice, which is a different route, which I think talking about that is a good way to end this first part. This has been part one with Justin Franzen. Once again, give your Twitter handle, your Facebook stuff, where people can find you.
Grafenberg. You can find us at Grafenberg Productions on Facebook, and you can just find me, Justin Franzen.
In Denver, walking the streets.
Well, yeah, or just on Facebook. I'm not really shy on the friend thing. It's just if you're some weird hot chick I don't know, I don't want your sunglasses.
No. I do want those sunglasses. Find us at Words with Wayman on Twitter. I've been Matt Wayman. This has been part one with Justin Franzen. We will be right back with part two. Thank you all for listening.